It does not change regardless of economic situations. But when the economy situation gets bad, and therefore, suppose their sales decrease by 50%. In this case, firm B will incur a greater loss, decrease in earnings. Because even though they do not sell their products much, they have to pay out a fixed cost. So this is the simple average of a simple example of the operating leverage. So the more proportion of fixed cost, more proportion or percentage of fixed cost relative to its total expenses, the more operating leverage. So when your sales grow, there will be more increase in profits than the comparable counterparts, which has more variable cost. But when it decreases, the profits will more decrease than the others. So leverage causes more earnings volatility. You get more good results in good situation, but more bad results in bad situation. So there is more operating leverage and more operating risk, or more business risk. So higher risk, higher return. Okay, so it's like that. And financial leverage is caused by the use of debt. Okay, the financial risk is the variability or uncertainty of a firm's earnings and the increased probability of default when a firm uses financial leverage. So financial leverage comes from using debt, and is closely related to a financial risk. Okay, suppose firm U unleveraged and firm L leveraged. If firm U is unlevered, that has no debt, and firm L is leveraged. Everything else are equal. They have same condition except their debt position. They both have $20,000 in assets. Okay, they both have 20,000 in assets, but firm U has it as all equity, 100% equity, but firm L has a 50% equity and 50% debt. And suppose the debt has 12% interest rate. So firm U, their balance sheet, they have 20,000 in assets, and they have 0 debt, and they have 20,000 equity, which is a shares. But firm L has 20,000 assets, and they have 50%, 10,000 debt, and 10,000 equity. Okay, this is the only difference. Of course, since firm U has 20,000 in equity, let's say their shares outstanding are 10,000 stocks. So the price per share is $20. So for firm L, their price per shares is $20. So they only have 500 shares outstanding. Okay, so this is the only difference. Okay, don't mind the probability. You just see what happens to net incomes in each economic situations. Okay. For firm U, a unlevered firm that has no leverage, their net income increased by 30%, 33% when there is a 33% increase in sales. And the net income decreased by 33% when their sales decreased by a negative 33%, same amount. Okay, this is simple, right? But the firm L, unleveraged, firm L has a leverage. Their net income increase or decrease by greater amount compared to firm U, a unlevered firm. Their sales increased by 55% when their sales moved by 33%. And when their sales decreased by 33%, their income will more decrease than the amount of their sales decrease. So negative minus. So they have more, their earnings are more volatile. So financial levered firms has more earnings volatility than unlevered firms. So this is kind of a financial leverage. Of course, in good economic situation, firm U had a net income of 400 net income, while firm L has only $1,680 in income. But firm U has 100,000 shares outstanding, which a stockholder will get $2.4 per share, while firm L stockholders will receive about $3.4 per share. So because they only have 500 shares. So this is the simple example of a financial leverage. By using that, there is more leverage and there is more earnings volatility driven by the use of that. So this interest expenses, interest cost are fixed. So regardless of the economic situation, you have to pay some costs that are fixed. So this causes a volatile in earnings. So there is more risk. You get more money when it's good. In good situation, you get more money than the unlevered firm. So this is kind of a leverage effect, but you get more worse in a bad situation. And financial risk can be measured by debt ratio. For example, debt to equity ratio. So how much debt did firm borrow relative to its total equity? Okay. So higher debt to equity ratio indicates that the firm has higher financial leverage because they're using higher debt. So they will have a higher probability of default and they will have higher earnings volatility. IT is the same as debt to equity ratio. but it's a little different. But it drives a similar indication.